film here at Town Hall Theater. We have reached Festival Friday, hooray. And this is the 4th year of our AICEF films. And Wayne Forrest will be coming up in just a minute. He's the president of the foundation, which makes all of this possible. I just want to take a moment to say that this is maybe one of, if not the most singular thing that we do at Middlebury New Filmmakers Festival. We simply can't find another festival, and maybe one of you all will know this, but we haven't been able to find another festival that has a cultural exchange of filmmakers where you know, the films have a certain relevance that brings light to us, and we hope our film brings light to the Bali International Film Festival. So we're grateful to AICEF for allowing us to continue this, and we hope it'll continue it well into the future. So let me just say a couple of quick things before Wayne comes up. The film that has been selected by the Balinale this year, Bali International, is a film called Sculpting the Giant. And our two of our filmmakers are here. Rheza, Rheza Arden Wiguna. Thank you, Rheza, for coming. I know it was several flights to get here, and we appreciate all the effort you put into it. And the producer of the film, Maulana Aziz, known as Aziz. These guys are very cool. They've already been buying a lot of paraphernalia. You know, get the Middlebury thing. They're digging it, man. You don't get to the States that often. So anyway, after the screening is over, we'll have a Q&A up on stage. Wayne will join, I will join, and our two guests from Indonesia. We'll talk about Sculpting the Giant. It's a really quite interesting film, beautiful film. And just a reminder, at 2 o'clock, the American winner of the AICEF Prize. The film is called New Wave, and the director, Elizabeth I, will be here. Elizabeth, are you here by any chance? I haven't seen her since she got here, but she should be here for her Q&A. Also a very, very interesting film and a deserving winner of the AICEF Prize. Without further ado, my friend, your friend, Wayne Forrest.
First, I want to tell my filmmakers, you don't have to stand. You can have a seat and see your film on a big screen. First of all, congratulations to Lloyd and Jay and the rest of the group on your 10th year. This is our 4th. It's our pleasure. Before we go into a little more of my introduction, I wanted to point out to those of you who were here yesterday that attended the VSO animation segment. Wonderful, right? There was the film about Lottie Reininger, who in 1926 created a stop-motion shadow play animation. Her inspiration for those puppets were Indonesian wayang. Wayang means puppet. So there's an Indonesia connection that maybe some of you didn't really realize. Our foundation was started in the 1970s, mostly to give scholarships to Indonesians to come here in the United States. At that time, Indonesia was emerging from a period of its independence, but it was a very poor country, very few PhDs, and the foundation was started to bring Indonesians here. We keep doing that, but we've now expanded into cultural things like this. The idea that I had for this exchange was not just to see the films, but to have the people come and experience something cross-cultural themselves. So we have a host family here today, the Marlows. I want to give a shout out to them for hosting Rheza and Aziz. And I can tell you they've already said the interior of your house is amazing. And I don't know if they've had pancakes yet, but maybe they'll get them before they go. I want to ask the crew upstairs to put up a map. We have a little visual aid this year. This is important because the film is about the creation of a sculpture. capital is here. Bandung is a hill town. It's where some of Indonesia's best universities are. And the sculpture is made there, and it has to be transported overland and then across this strait to Bali. And this is about, I don't know, 600 miles. 600 miles, and so you're gonna have to have this map in your mind a little bit. That's all I wanted to say with the map. So. There's a couple other quick notes about just to give you some information. You're going to see films of President Suharto, who from 1965 to 1998 was the autocratic president of Indonesia. In 1998, there's a huge financial crisis, and Suharto is forced to resign, and we get the rebirth of democracy in Indonesia. That's important, you'll see, because this film goes over a long period of time. There's mention of a tycoon named Tene King, and he comes into the picture. He's a big property developer. Chinese Indonesians control a lot of the economy. I'll just say that. We can go into more of that during the discussion. I just mentioned the truck route. That's very important because the roads of Indonesia in 1998 are different than what they are today. I'll just leave it at that. Two things for me going into looking at this film, and I think to keep in mind, is that Indonesia can do big things, and we see that more and more every day. The second thing is, we often, when I first lived in Indonesia, traditional culture was so strong that it was very rare to see an individual step out of their traditional culture. This film represents what happens when somebody steps out of their traditional culture. With that, that's it. Okay.
Every year that we do the AICEF Prize, and we have the winners from Indonesia come, I personally am startled by what you achieve. Even beginning the first year when Harvan had his film, all through the fourth year, but I must say this one just tops those in just the scale of your ambition. And also, it's not only your ambition, but trying to track a 28-year project. Is what we see here, the final shots of this, for the most part, is 2013 or 2014?
The final shot, meaning when the statue was finished?
Yes.
It's 2018.
18.
Yeah.
So you were doing this, you were shooting a lot of this 6 years ago.
We started on 2014. Yeah.
2014.
2014. Yeah.
All right. So you built this over 4 years.
Yeah.
Meaning you had to extract all the archival footage.
That's right.
And then put it together with the sort of in what happened in the present.
That's right. Yeah.
To build the entire film. Can you share with the audience the nature of your relationship with Nyoman, and also any government entities, and how you were able to get the footage to create the film? What was your plan going into such a monumental project?
So, to be honest, this was a project that we stumbled by accident. So, the co-directors, Rheza and Banu, won a video competition creating a short, non-narrative visual documentary on Nyoman's workshop, right? So there was a competition, and then they won. That was even before I came in, and then we were commissioned to document what you would see in the final credits. So just the construction, the construction of the statue. So, but as we get closer with Nyoman, we thought there's a bigger story than just pieces of statue being put together, because we thought like it was it would be a missed opportunity if we don't dig deeper. And it turns out, as we dig deeper, they keep archives very, not, I wouldn't say neatly, but there are archives here and there we need to fetch, and we need to digitize, molded tapes or damaged tapes, so we need to digitize them, and then as we go along the way, we then get the idea of how big the project is, because we weren't even born when it started, so we were just toddlers. So we stitched this it was a quite long research, because we had time to do the research, because the construction was taking a long time. So piecing those pieces together, and then we found ourselves surprised, like the statue was burned. So we found out in the middle, and then there was this scheme to increase the loan interest, and then had to do court battles, and then corrupt CEOs. Those are layers that we didn't find, and then didn't find until we looked very deep. And then there's this enigmatic person of Nyoman who treated us like family at that point, and he was just so unrelenting in his vision, at the cost of everyone else's well-being, mental well-being. So it's a long process. Maybe what do you want to add in Bahasa or in English?
Yeah, maybe I'll add in Bahasa and you then you translate. Is that okay? Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Mungkin saya juga di sini akan sedikit menjelaskan dengan bahasa Indonesia, karena ya saya juga ingin mengintroduce bahasa Indonesia kepada kalian.
Yeah, we want to explain a bit in Bahasa Indonesia, so you get a taste of what Bahasa Indonesia sounds like.
Dan saya juga ingin merespect pertanyaan dari Lloyd dan semua dari kalian, termasuk Wayne juga, untuk semua. Saya ingin memberikan jawaban terbaik. Saya merasa sih kayak tidak akan bisa dengan baik kalau misalkan tidak dengan mother tongue saya.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna answer some of the questions in Bahasa Indonesia, because that's the best way that we can answer it, and I will be interpreting it for Rheza and on behalf of the team, man. But we respect all of you guys who's coming here. Thank you so much, and thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, Wayne, for having us here.
Okay. Rheza. We don't have a lot of time, so
Okay.
I'm going to ask a question, and then probably Lloyd, you might want to throw it to the audience or ask a final question. The opening scene and the closing scenes, the building of the statue itself, I think that's the craft and the beauty of the film, especially and also the integration with the beautiful score. Just the drama of it is just wonderful. Can you tell us about how you maneuvered the camera? Were you using drone? Talk a little bit about the technical side of getting those images.
Where were you?
Up so high. Who was there? Was there more than one camera? What was going on?
Oke, kita menggunakan banyak sekali kamera. Pertama ada GoPro yang dikaitkan kepada modul-modul. Kita juga pakai drone. Kita menyebar banyak sekali orang di seluruh penjuru patung.
Yeah, so we used a lot of cameras. We used GoPros that we attached to the module of the statues. We used drones, and then there's a lot of people as camera persons that are actually doing the very hard work. Also, if I might add, under the leadership of our DP, Dini Aristia, she's a wonderful woman. She went and stayed in Bali and then mingled with those with the workers, and every day she's what we call the Spider Woman, because she the shots that you see, from up there and then to the ground, and then shots that are being taken from the statue, she did it. So she's the hero of the project, along with Bintang, the composer, and she also ended, because she has very intimate knowledge of what she shot, she ended up becoming the one who also edits the film and create the structure with the help of me, Rheza, and Banu, and it's just a very gotong royong. We say it in Indonesia. It's like it's a family project. So everyone chips in, and then the lines get blurred.
Mungkin saya mau nambahin sedikit. Terima kasih udah tadi mention di depan. Memang kita pengen slow start di awal, karena itu menurut kita penonton perlu untuk take some times untuk grasp seberapa besar GWK. Mungkin kalau misalkan bisa kasih perspektif dari size, the face of the Wisnu is maybe larger than the screen.
Yeah. So yeah, we wanted to give the audience time to breathe and grasp how big the statue is, and then in the beginning, and then it was very important to us to see that this is gigantic. So. Sorry, pardon the English. Anyway, it's something that we try to use to just captivate the eyes of the audience from the get-go, because we know it's going to be a long journey from then on, because there's a lot of archive footage, and then there's going to be a lot of interviews. So what's the hook? So that was the hook.
Okay. We can go to the audience once again. I just have one more question, and we'll go. We have about 10, 12 minutes. We've got plenty of question time. I think the animation that we see at the end of the film, we talked yesterday about the animation studio that you are building or contemplating expanding. Is that where the animation came from, or is it a third party that did the animation that we see toward the end of the film?
So we have been doing animation for many years now, and then so. The nature of the project of the documentary itself is not the core idea of our company, and we have to insert something that speaks to our true selves in the film. So that's why we chose the animation medium instead of doing a reenactment shoot for describing Newman's childhood, and the fact that it turns out that he already has the vision since he was a kid. So that's why we go to the animation medium and be true to ourselves.
Dan menurut saya penting sekali untuk memakai animasi, karena itu the only way cara yang bisa menggambarkan masa childhood Pak Nyoman, dan dia specifically bilang bahwa si creature itu memang ada di childhood dia, dan dia specifically bilang warnanya, bentuknya, dan yang lainnya.
Yeah, so it was crucial to use animation because Nyoman would actually, when he was a kid, would actually see and describe those apparitions that he would saw when he was a kid, and we don't think, being a very independent team and as a production, it was the most viable way to make that imagery come true using animation.
Dan itu memang mungkin bisa jadi itu yang membuat Pak Nyoman seperti Pak Nyoman pada hari ini.
And maybe those visions of apparitions that he sees, and he still sees that, so he has a habit of waking up like 2 or 3 a.m. and then he felt like he saw something, like some kind of a ghost or maybe, and then he draw it on paper, and then sometimes that becomes the inspiration of his statues.
Exactly.
Questions, please. Up at the top, David.
I didn't see anyone else covering their faces at the first 3 minutes of the film, but I would have so appreciated a warning that there were going to be shots, POV shots from above. I was dying, absolutely dying from fright. So I don't know if that's going to be something that you would add in the future. But just a word of warning. I'm confused, and please let me know if I'm wrong, but the head and the torso of the statue were in the park previously, yes?
Yep.
But then they were transported from
Bandung.
Bando. Why was that necessary?
It was because the one that already sat in the park, the new owner don't want to bother them, because that's already a highlight for tourist spots. And that's right. The size were different, so they had to create again so if we're counting, there's total of 3 Garuda heads One was burned, one was being put there on the expo, and then one was on the top of attached to the statue.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Right. So, who is the Gustav Eiffel of this project? Who designed and fabricated the structure that supported the sculpture?
Nyoman has a team of architects that work behind him. So he has a company that not only a sculptor company, but it's an architectural company. So he has a team of architects. There's a whole shebang about making it durable. And, with the wind speed, there's a wind tunnel test being done in Australia. That's a whole technical thing that earthquake test also. We didn't get a chance to cover it because it's already 87 minutes long. But those are the technical aspects that are already being put into consideration. And the one that eventually made do the work was the owner's company, because it's a real estate developer in the beginning. So yeah.
Who else? Questions? Top up in the balcony.
Okay, so we understand that there is an investor, because he doesn't own any of the park, any piece of the park anymore. So it's just that one investor who owns it all. Do people have access to the park? Do they pay? Do the people own it? Hopefully.
No, now it's a privately owned park of one of the largest as a real estate developer in Indonesia. And the Bali Tourism, the BTTC, the one that sued Panyaman to raise the interest rates, still owns a little bit, of the park. So it's 87, 13%, if I'm not mistaken, the configuration. So yeah, majority is the private-owned company, and the government-owned company owns the small minority of it. Admissions are charged for visitors, and it kind of came full circle because Panyaman envisioned for the venue to be a world stage, and we had World Water Forum and the G20 Forum just a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it kind of happened what he predicted, although he's not a part of it anymore. Yeah.
Because it's not a religious site, it's not going to be that integrated into the life of Balinese people. They will go to their traditional temples and things like that.
Tapi yang sedihnya lagi, mungkin saya harus ngasih tahu juga ke audiens, dan ini menurut saya sangat penting. Panyaman menurut saya nggak dapat kredit yang pantas. Bahkan ketika dia selesai membangun patung, dia tidak sama sekali di-mention oleh siapapun. Hanya satu orang yang mention waktu itu, presiden kita waktu itu ya, dan ya menurut saya he deserves more credit.
Yeah. So what you saw on the celebration scene was actually celebration made by Nyoman's company and a few friends. There are artists, performers, including ourselves. So we all chip in on the performance, but in the end, when the developer launched the site, there was very little to no credit to Panyaman, because it's something that they try to rebrand the statue as part of their real estate portfolio, because previously everyone thought it was owned by the government, which was never true in the beginning. So yeah.
Ya, itu kita juga marah sih.
And we were pretty upset about it, but
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say it's visually such a beautiful film, but also the story, the tenacity and the passion. You wove it together so well with that archival, and just how much archival was there, and putting that together with your wonderful editor. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Ya, pertama kali kita lihat arsipnya itu dalam satu ruangan besar, dan itu kita kaget banget. Ada satu ruangan full dalam box, semuanya itu VHS tape.
So there's a lot of one dusty room that used to be the Nyoman studio, where he keeps the archives. There are boxes of VHS that are dusty and then molded and damaged, and then there are old newspapers and the clipping of newspapers that we had to scan one by one, and then Thankfully, the art newspaper clippings are already assembled chronologically. So it was a matter of just due diligence and try to find the
Dan
details.
itu menurut kita itu sangat menguntungkan bagi kita, dan kita juga nggak nyangka gitu ya, Pak Nyoman bisa punya kesadaran untuk mengarsipkan karya-karyanya dari awal, dan itu tidak sering terjadi di manapun.
And we were very grateful for that, because we never thought that we were gonna find any archives at all, because it turns out Pak Nyoman could actually have the awareness to archive his process, because we in Indonesia, archives are bad. We don't really take note of what. We have really bad archiving systems. The public library is not as good, but he kind of have that foresight to actually try to keep everything that he's been through into a pretty, I wouldn't say neat, but at least it was there. So and then we're the one who's trying to tidy things up.
I don't know if there's more questions, but I thought right before the end, I would just say that he has a big project that he has just completed after this, which is he designed the presidential palace, which is in the new capital that Indonesia's building on another island, because their capital city is sinking. And so it's going to be another 40-year project probably to do it. But at least his design is completed now. It's based on the Garuda creature, with mythical bird. Yeah. There's probably a couple more questions.
Right here. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm curious if we want to share it with friends and say, you got to see this film. How do we get to do that?
So unfortunately, we're still trying to find suitors for our film. So we're in the US. We're still trying to figure out whether if we can do like Emily's film, the one that aired before at 9, to do a tour, and we're trying to find ways to do it. It's our first film, and it's something very new. We've never touched that part, which is distribution. So we're trying to learn as much as we go, and how to distribute films to as many audiences as we could. So, but in that note, thank you so much, Lloyd and Wayne, for bringing us here. And we wouldn't even think about having this film being watched by U.S. audience. We haven't even aired it in Indonesia. No, so we only aired it in Bali, which is the joke is not Indonesia, but all right, he's mine. Okay, anyways, we're trying so hard now even to find.
There's one question here and one up there.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
There's a filmmaker here, so I want to hear his
David,
question.
yeah.
Well, so I'm curious about you two as the filmmakers. I'm curious what, if any, parallels you feel psychologically between Yomar's journey to build his sculpture and your journey to create this documentary. And now after years and years, it's over. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm wearing clothes right now, thank God. All right. Okay.
He's still handsome, though.
Yeah. I look in the mirror and then I'm Lloyd.
Pertama kali saya lihat karya Pak Nyoman itu, saya masih duduk di SMA.
The first time Rheza witnessed the GWK Expo, he was still in high school.
Dan pertama kali saya melihat patung itu, saya nggak percaya itu detail banget dan sangat besar.
Yeah, he couldn't believe the detail, the intricate detail of the ornaments of the statue, and it was really big. So yeah, it was pretty contradictory even.
Dan dari pertama memang saya ada ketertarikan di art, dan ketika saya tahu itu ternyata cuma pieces, dan karena waktu itu saya datang di expo.
Yeah, so he went to the expo, and he first of all, he's an art school major, so he revels in the observations of the details of the statue, and it turns out it was just pieces of modules.
Yeah.
So technically it was very simple.
Yeah. Dan ketika tahu itu ternyata saya melihat market gitu ya, dan ketika tahu itu akan menjadi satu hal yang sangat besar, saya merinding sekujur tubuh.
Yeah. So he got goosebumps when he looked at the miniature, the model miniature, and seeing this is how big it's gonna be. So and that was in high school.
Yeah.
You were in high school, yeah.
Dan the moment itu saya benar-benar percaya bahwa bangsa ini Indonesia bisa melakukan sesuatu yang besar.
Yeah. So at that moment, he believed. We believed. I mean, I subscribe to this also, that us Indonesians, although we're not favored in the big stage of the world, but we can achieve great things.
Ya,
Because this is a one man's dream that became true.
Ya, karena ini bukan mimpi kita, ini mimpi orang lain yang bisa menular kepada kita, dan itu menurut saya ya harus di scale yang sebesar ini, dan ya that's amazing.
So Garuda Wisnu Kencang was only one man's dream, and then it can inspire others to have bigger dreams. So that's what it gave us. And personally, I would add the journey of making this. So we took to completion. It was 2014 to 2022.
Ya, dan
So 8 years, yeah, 8 years to finally to finally finish it.
sebetulnya ini hal sama yang pernah ada di filmnya juga. Dia ada anak kecil di SD dan dia sekarang udah kuliah. Ya itu saya.
Yes.
Itu ya representasi dari
I'll
saya.
add a note. Like many Indonesian artists and filmmakers, they have many different roles. So Aziz, when I contacted him in Indonesia before he came here, he said, you know, Wayne, is there a comedy club in Middlebury? This guy does comedy.
So anyway, guys. Okay, I would just add to David's question there. Yeah, we produced this for 8 years, 7 and 8 or 8 years, and we went through the pandemic. It was 2 years of pandemic, and during the pandemic, so we had picture lock of the offline edit on 2019 at the end of 2019. So 2020 we were supposed to do color and the sound and finish the score and whatnot. And then surprise, right? And then when the pandemic kind of dragged on the project, we had the, maybe we should build this off. The statue has been finished for 4 years now. Nobody cares about it anymore. It's tiring. Everybody, we all moved on to different projects, but when we rewatch it again, and then okay, this old guy, spent 28 years. What's our excuse, right? So we just had to finish it, and then 2022, at the end of 2022, we finished it. We put a seal on it, and then 2023 we get to premiere at Vancouver, and it was our first festival also, ever. So it was amazing. So we get a trial version of feeling like Nyoman. So yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I think either you or maybe Nyoman said, if you look at the churches in Europe, they took 200 years to make some of them. You never see
Well, all I want to say is that this is a triumph. We are thrilled to have had the U.S. premiere. Right? I know Vancouver's out there, but we could have said North America, but let's give them their due. We're really totally thrilled to have you guys here joining us. My feeling is that even though it took you a few years to put the finishing touches on it, this film will be special wherever it plays because it opens up a world of a country that so few of us know anything about, and in particular, a man who saw it through for 28 years. That kind of sort of vision and perseverance is always worth looking at and admiring and understanding. So, well, how about one more hand for our filmmakers?
Thank you so much.
Maulana Aziz, Rheza Arden Wiguna, and our friend Wayne Forrest.